This is a great question. Let's see what Jesus says. Then Jesus told his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?" So let's break this down. So when Jesus says, "For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Well, what is he trying to say here? He's trying to say that if you are not a follower of Jesus, your main focus in your life is pleasing self. But when you become a follower of Jesus, you are conforming to his image. And this takes time and pruning, but as it's happening, you start realizing that we are supposed to be looking and living like Jesus. And what did he do? He didn't come to be served, but he came to serve. And we are supposed to be an example of that. But just to give you an example of what this might look like, I suffer from a very painful disease. And so a lot of times by like 6, 7 o'clock at night, I'm like done. I'm ready to go to bed. Now, let's say, and this, by the way, this has happened multiple times. Let's say my daughter comes into my room and it's like 9 p.m. I got my son down to bed. I'm exhausted. I can barely keep my eyes open. And she comes in and she says, "Mom, I'm struggling really bad with my faith. I need you to talk to me or just read me some scriptures, or maybe we can do a Bible study together." And while my physical body is like, no, my mental, I'm just exhausted, I'm done. Every inclination in my body is like, no, I don't have the ability to do this right now. I crucify my flesh and I do what's right. I help my child. And so we end up doing a Bible study and she feels better and I feel good knowing that my daughter's going to bed at peace. That's crucifying your flesh. That's an example. Putting others before yourself. Suffering is definitely part of the walk. It just looks different for every believer. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's relational, sometimes it's both. I know for me, once I became a Christian, all the friends I had prior to being a Christian no longer speak to me, except one. And it's because all I wanted to do was talk about Jesus and talk about my faith and what God was doing in my life, and they wanted absolutely nothing to do with that. So part of the crucifying your flesh is being willing to let those relationships go, because I could have continued in those friendships, but I would have had to be a version of myself that I'm not. I would have had to talk about things I wasn't interested in and pretended to be somebody I'm not. So I was exactly who I am, and they left, and I had to accept it. And then being born and raised Jewish, you can only imagine my family's reaction when I came to Christ. And so I have many family members that either don't speak to me anymore, or they do speak to me, but they think I'm a little crazy. So that too, that is persecution, that is suffering. It's part of the walk. But Jesus makes it very clear that he comes first before anybody and everything. At the end of the day, when we die, we're going to be facing God. And it's not going to matter what your brother, your sister, your friends, your spouse, or anybody says about you. Only God can judge. And so we need to be living our lives in such a way that it pleases the Lord. Instead of being like, well, what's going to make me happy? What's going to fulfill me? What we need to do is ask God, what is your will for my life? What is it that you want me to do? How can I serve you? How can I serve others? Lord, you've already saved me. I am already going to heaven because you died a horrible, painful death on a cross to reconcile me back to the Father. So now I want to live my life to please you. And I don't want to give in to sin. I don't want my life to be selfish and wasted. I want my life to have meaning and purpose. And the only way that's going to happen is if I am in your will. And so your life just changes automatically. It is just a product of being a true follower. That's why the Bible says you will know them by their fruit. It's not like I'm trying to earn my way into heaven. I can't. Jesus is the only reason I'm going to heaven. But because of what he did, my mind has been renewed and changed where I want to live a life that glorifies him and not myself. I hope this helps.